Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Their new, more powerful mosquito treatments put the kibosh on the dangerous Aedes breed. I can never say that. It's Aedes, A-E-D-E-S. I probably still misspelled it there. Anyway, you don't need to know how these guys are pronounced. Just know that they're the ones that carry Zika virus. They carry dengue fever. They carry yellow fever. They're the ones that bite you in the middle of the day. They're very aggressive. I say kill them. Get aggressive back. Southeast Termite Pest Control will wipe those suckers out. They got great deals on mosquito treatments, and now is the time to call them Southeast Termite and Pest Control. All right. I want to remind you, here is the list so far. Maybe a little too far away from you. Maybe you can read that, maybe not. My number 10 was Chris Lofton. Number 9, Ray Mears. Number 8, Bernard King. Number 7, Condridge Holloway. Number 6 was John Majors. Number 5 was Philip Fulmer. That means we are down to numbers 4 and 3 in this segment. I'm going to guess most of the panelists didn't think outside the box the way I did. Here's my number 4 on the list of Tennessee all-time icons. John Ward, all right? Play-by-play announcer, voice of the Vols, and this is no knock on Bob Kessling or anybody else who fills that void. I know they call that person the voice of the Vols, but John Ward will always be the voice of the Vols to a lot of people. Basketball, 65 to, people forget he did basketball 3 years before he did football, did it for 30 years. Coined the phrase, it's football time in Tennessee, which is still being used today. The reason I've got him on there is think about the lasting contribution he made over all those decades back in a day and age when people relied on the radio. You didn't have every game on television. There were some games you just didn't have it at all. And you'd get up the next morning and watch the coach's show. And that was basically John Ward just doing his play-by-play with a couple of inserts from the coach saying, yeah, I agree. John Ward brought every basketball game, every football game to 90% of Tennessee fans for 30 years. To me, that might be you could make a case he should be the number 1 icon because who's had more impact one-on-one with fans like that? Now, we'll debate this a little later. I don't want you to weigh in now. We'll debate this a little later. But I put John Ward as number 4, and I don't know that anybody else was thinking that, but that's why Majors and Fulmer didn't make it. I put Ward up there. All right, let's look at number 3. This is going to surprise no one. It's kind of like the ABC Wide World of Sports open right there.
I was going George of the Jungle.
Okay, well, that too. Peyton Manning, number 3, of course, football player. You know his accomplishments, All-American, SEC Player of the Year, won the Maxwell Award, the Unitas Award, the O'Brien Award. Should have won the Heisman Trophy as well. Member of the Hall of Fame. If you go by name value nationally, and then you mix in, and I don't, but if you mix in the post-UT accomplishments, again, this is one that you could make a case for being number 1 on the list. If you throw out nationwide, what do you think of when you think of Tennessee? To somebody from Oxnard, this might be number 1 on the list, Peyton Manning. So, all right, guys, weigh in here. My number 4, John Ward. My number 3, Peyton Manning.
I did not think of John Ward. If I had, I would have adjusted my list because I think that's a very good pick.
Okay. Anybody have a problem with John Ward on the list? Josh Ward, he's your people ask you if you're related, right?
Right, and sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say no. Yeah, I think John Ward would have a problem being on the list, but it's your list. Yeah. It's not his. Right. So I don't have a problem with that at all. It is the way that so many fans remember UT football or UT basketball. They're going to remember John Ward maybe before they remember a lot of the athletes that they were watching or listening or whatever. But Peyton Manning, number 3, again, it almost seems too low. We're going to get to the top 2 and it's going to make more sense. But Peyton's in that kind of can do no wrong category with Tennessee.
Although he kind of took a little hit when he was pro Curry and then pro Schiano. There were a few people that didn't appreciate that, but still, you're right.
But most, I think, kind of just whistled along and then threw stuff at other people instead.
Yes. Thoughts on my number 4
Well,
and 3?
I didn't think of John Ward either, but I'll say this. If you went on a caravan, which they don't do anymore, John Ward would be signing a lot of autographs. I don't know that anybody would have had a higher approval rate than John Ward, including Peyton Manning, in part, John, because of what you said about the Schiano deal and John Curry. But I can't think of too many people that didn't like him. I think of a lot of people that were impacted and affected by him in the media business. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, and I actually had John Ward number 6.
Okay.
And had him just outside the top 5, kind of like what Josh said. I don't think he certainly wouldn't have wanted to be on the list.
No.
But
For a guy
I
who
mean,
was
and
in the
here's
spotlight, he didn't
another
like
thing about John Ward. You know, and I did 3 or 4 articles, I guess, through the years. He would do a handwritten, and then sometimes were typed, thank you note, and point something out, and it was just really, really special to do that. You know, and of course Peyton Manning does the same thing. He'll do the handwritten thing. But I mean, what 2 great people? How many people growing up used to imitate John Ward, walking around and saying that, just like what Jimmy's saying? I mean, this is a good list.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could go down the list of catchphrases that he created and had. I mean, there's football, basketball, there's a million of them. We could do a whole show
Give
on
him
John Ward
6, you know, and then
catchphrases.
counting it, the Jeff Powell and the Sugar Bowl. If that doesn't give you chill bumps, I don't know what does.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
know.
mean, I forget what it was. It might have been the
Bottom.
yeah. There was somewhere I saw a recent highlight of John Ward doing a call, and it took me back to when I was a kid watching that particular game, and get a little misty-eyed. That nostalgia thing hit, and I just thought, not only was that a great play, but good Lord, how good was John Ward?
Yeah.
You know, and he wasn't. Here's the thing with John Ward: he would get excited for his home team, but he would also, you know, if Virginia scored a touchdown, so he'd say touchdown Virginia. He would still give it a little bit. It wouldn't, Virginia.
Yeah.
He was not a pure
Homer.
Like, yes, you got some guys who are, you know, come on, get him, make tackle, and that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't like that homerism. I'm sure he sounded like a huge homer to non-Vol fans, but I thought he was a fair homer, if that makes sense.
Yes.
All right. So Manning 3, Ward 4. I wonder if we all have the same 1 and 2. I'll give you my 1 and 2 next. These guys are going to show you their top 5 after that. Then we'll debate a little more. Who are the most likely icons that are on the UT campus right now? Are there any? Come on back on the Sports Source.